Hey everybody, I'm a horse. Now let's talk pony. So, before I delve into this headfirst, let me just say that I have been meaning to do pony reviews for quite a while now. But I've either been, too lazy or too busy to actually do them. So to make up for it, here is my completely on-time review of For Whom the Sweetie Belle Tolls. On with the review! For Whom the Sweetie Belle Tolls is episode 19 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 4. Don't ask me why I'm starting in the middle of a season, or so help me, I will make you eat those words like Shadow the Hedgehog. But, what a place to start. This episode is written by Dave Polsky, who is on fire this season. After writing the, iffy Daring Don't, he upped his game up to 11, writing the phenomenal Rarity Takes Manhattan, the fresh Twilight Time, and now this little gem. Hands down, this is the best Dave Polsky episode thus far. Only time will tell if the upcoming Equestria Games will break the record. But why is this episode so dang awesome? Well, let me take you on a journey. So, the episode starts out with this cute little scene between Sweetie Belle and her big sister Rarity. Now, if you don't know what to expect out of this scene, you sure haven't seen enough episodes devoted to these two. Which is understandable. There's only Sisterhood Social, maybe Sleepless in Ponyville, I guess? But I digress. We then get introduced to the framing device of this episode, which is Sapphire Shores. Yeah, you all remember her? Well, anyway, she's just ordered a batch of new dresses from Rarity for her new music video. Yeah, she's a singer-songwriter. Who knew? I sure didn't. Anyway, the point is, even though Rarity's behind on the order, like she always seems to be, she kindly accepts Sweetie's request to spruce up some dresses for a play that Sweetie and the Cutie Mark Crusaders are producing. Because why the hell not? After the show gets none less than a standing ovation, our group of fillies gets confused when they find out that the dresses are what stole the spotlight, and no pony actually paid attention to the play. Needless to say, Sweetie gets very upset considering the amount of work she put in, and gets mad at Rarity, sabotaging her sister's big order for Sapphire Shores. That night, Best Alicorn visits her in a dream to find the real reason behind Sweetie's actions, and to warn her of what might become of her sister if Sapphire ends up with the headdress that falls apart. This inspires Sweetie to right her wrongs and save her sister's reputation, blah blah blah, we win the end. So, first things first, this is an excellent premise for an episode. Sweetie Belle seeing Rarity as a spotlight hog and overcoming this notion is just a brilliant setup. There is so much you can do with an idea like that, and Polsky capitalized. Capitalized like hell. This is probably one of the deepest character developments we've ever seen yet, and probably one of the deepest we'll see for some time. I mean, the dynamic between the two sisters is realistic, but at the same time it never feels mundane or boring, much like my review probably is right now. Every scene is packed full of expressive dialogue, and the ponies are always in character. Polsky has shown before that he is the best Rarity writer. Now chalk up Sweetie Belle on his list. One part that I particularly loved was, just after the play, the trio is saying how they mustn't get ahead of themselves, must be dignified, modest, classy, all of which are the polar opposites of what each of them are in turn normally. I salute you, Dave. May your reign be long and tyrannical. Visually, this is a top-notch episode for mid-season. Nothing too fancy, but, the animators are probably all ponied down in preparation for the upcoming finale. Animation is fluid. Never noticed any glaring errors, but then again, I never noticed Cyclops pony in The Best Night Ever. Dream sequence? Dream sequence? Oh, right, the dream sequence. Yeah, when I said graphics don't stand out? I was lying. The dream sequence where Sweetie and Luna are travelling between memories is just beautiful. I mean, just look at it. I especially like the way the animators, they weren't afraid to squash and stretch the landscape. I mean, it is a dream after all. But what really takes the cake is the sheer diversity of pony types shown off here, in an episode with an otherwise limited cast. We see the standard, as displayed by Rarity, the tall, that is Sapphire Shores, the male equivalents of the play after party, the child, such as the CMC, and most interestingly, the 5-year-old, not just because we've scarcely seen this body type used before, but also because these infants are defined as specifically 5 years old. Now that is world building done subtle. Bravo, Polsky. Bravo. As for music, there were no songs per se, and background music never really stood out. On the flip side, it was also never distracting either. Take it as you will. The moral of this episode really is the strongest point. Sweetie learns that sometimes a pony can seem like they're trying to outshine you when really they're just trying to help. Now this is a great lesson for kids to learn, as kids generally do get outshined unintentionally by the much more able adults around them. She also, on a more subtle note, learned a secondary lesson, that fretting over every detail doesn't always make things better. I like how they managed to work in two morals here without either feeling heavy-handed or shoehorned in. You have the big moral taking precedence, with little baby moral running knee-high to the other. In fact, it's almost like the two morals have a big sister-little sister relationship, symbolizing the dynamic this episode focuses on, almost as if they meant for it to happen. Oh my god, did they? Did they just get me all philosophical about a little girl show? I am like the rest of the review community. We're all suckers to our imaginations. That dream sequence. I love it. It's so dark, so edgy, so unlike the target audience. Yeah. Now this is fan service done right to the best degree. I mean, yeah, it's a kid's show, but it is allowed to get edgy for the sake of the plot. Moreover, it really made Sweetie's inner struggle seem realistic. Heck, I felt a little uncomfortable watching Rarity in Bad Future Zone. Imagine what her full sister must have felt like. So yeah, that was my completely on-time review of For Whom the Sweetie Belle Tolls. A brilliant watch, as if you haven't seen it already. And definitely one I'd recommend to non-bronies who are unsure of the series as a whole. I give this episode 5 secret stitches out of 5. Have a good one. So, that was my completely on-time review of For Whom the Sweetie Belle Tolls. Yeah.